Hello, everyone. Today we have another video interview with one of our guests, and we have Adriana Mallozzi with us here today. It's amazing to have her and actually have a bit of her time to tell us more about what she does, because she does some incredible stuff. Hello, Adriana. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm good.
It's really nice to see you also, because we met on Clubhouse, and on there we only get to hear each other but not really see each other, so it's really nice.
Yeah, it's great.
So thank you for taking the time today.
Thanks for having me.
I know you are juggling a lot of things at the moment, including growing your community on Clubhouse, which is the 15% Club. And besides that, besides hosting the weekly chats on there on disability, you're also, a co-founder of a nonprofit, and you're also a guest lecturer and so many other things. So I'd love for you to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, so I actually have a tech startup called Puffin Innovations. We are developing a mouth-operated input device that's completely wireless. It allows people like myself who have limited mobility in their upper extremities to use their mobile devices as well as their computers. And then we also have an app that goes along with it. That way the user has complete control of the settings and all of that stuff. And then we're incorporating machine learning and artificial intelligence. So the device learns from the user and adjusts to the user, whereas in most assistive technology, the user adjusts to the tech. So we want to change that. So that's a brief about my tech startup. And then I'm a co-founder of something called Quark Labs, where we are creating a space/network/platform for current and aspiring entrepreneurs with disabilities. As an entrepreneur myself, with my tech startup, when I was applying to different programs and accelerators and things like that, there was never that box that I fit into, or my company fit into when I was applying. So, I could check off female founder. That's great, but there was nothing to say, hey, I have a disability, right? Or the technology that I'm developing is for people with disabilities. We either had to pick high tech or, a social enterprise or things like that, which we don't fit into those categories. While our technology is high tech, it's assistive tech. We're not a typical consumer product. So those experiences really made me want to create a space where entrepreneurs with disabilities, or people who are aspiring to be entrepreneurs, who have disabilities, can come and get the resources they need, can learn how to start and grow their business, and just rally together. I was part of an accelerator program here in Boston, and it was great. There were about 128 startups in one giant space, and the energy that we got from each other is what was so great. We all were in pretty much the same boat, right? We were struggling entrepreneurs We were experiencing the highs and the lows together, and we would help each other out, whether it would just be an ear to, to have someone listen about something that didn't go well, or to brainstorm and help each other out. And so that's the environment that we want to create specifically for people with disabilities. So yeah.
Wow, that is it's absolutely amazing, and congratulations for starting that up. I know it's not easy to start any sort of, nonprofit or business, or, and I remember, because you just mentioned as well that when you were applying for, different sort of stuff, you never found that thing to take on. And that's, I remember I've done some applications as well in my life, and now I go back to them in my mind, and there was never indeed no sort of inclusion in that application form, and it was always like female founder or something like that. And that's I think that's really important. You're basically just setting it up for a major change, and that's something that I think a lot of people need to hear about. So that's amazing. Since when did you start this?
So it's been in the works for a little while, but officially we just kind of got going right after COVID happened. We got into a fellowship to help kick this project off. So before that, it was just me and a few people who are the co-founders, talking about the idea, trying to figure out how to implement this idea. And then we applied for a fellowship and got in, but at the same time COVID hit, so everything went virtual. And so we kind of flipped our original plan upside down. So originally we were gonna, focus locally. Here in Boston, we have a very large ecosystem for entrepreneurship, as well as a large disability community. And so we were just going to focus here, in Massachusetts, predominantly the Boston area. But that changed with COVID because we couldn't physically be together. And so we flipped it upside down and said, hey, let's start globally, because I had already been connecting with people around the world who were entrepreneurs, who were in the disability space. And so we're like, let's just grow it virtually. It's still a network of people. We can still support each other. And so that's what we've been doing, is just kind of creating this network. I call it people collecting, because I'm connecting with so many people and just kind of recruiting them to be part of this community. And so and then of course Clubhouse happened and started growing that community, and now we are at about 5,000 between followers and members. So our 15% club has grown. I had never, imagined that it would be what it is right now, and it's only going to grow from there. And I have a great crew on Clubhouse that they're phenomenal and keep the programming going when I'm super busy lately with all of my other endeavors. So yeah.
Wow, it's gonna grow from here even bigger. And Clubhouse is a new opportunity for people who, I don't know, maybe didn't get on the Facebook train or whatever else social network, but this one I think is even more powerful than the others, because it's not just sharing photos like, hey, like my photo. It's like it's much more deeper than that, and it's something that it's about meaningful conversations. And I am really glad that well, I met you there as well, and that I met so many amazing people there. And yeah, and I was just thinking and looking on your profile and thinking, how do you find the time to do so many things at the same
I
time?
don't
It's just
know.
amazing.
I have a lot on my plate right now, so things relaxed when COVID hit, and so I was like, oh, I can focus on new things. And now that things are kind of ramping back up because people are getting the vaccine or what have you, now everything is up and getting going again. And so I started working on Quirk Labs because COVID hit and I had that time and the space to do it. But now Puffin is coming back alive again as well. And so, yeah, I'm just juggling a lot in Clubhouse, trying to keep Clubhouse up and, running our stuff. But again, I have a lot of help with the Clubhouse stuff. So I'm really lucky in that aspect. So,
That's really
yeah.
good. And you just mentioned, when COVID came, you got to focus on what you wanted to do. And I find that quite interesting because maybe a lot of people, I feel like they've taken this, okay, it's COVID and it's lockdown or it's restriction time. So I'm just gonna sit at home and just mainly do nothing, or, so a lot of people kind of, or waited for, okay, I'm gonna wait for this to pass so I can get on with my stuff. But on the other hand, you were like, no, this is actually the perfect time to do something. And I find it remarkable that you didn't just, I'm just gonna lay for a bit and, watch TV while this crazy thing passes on. But you created something even more, like, even bigger and stronger, and you've got that idea and you put it into practice when things were hard for everyone. And I think that's just, yeah, it's remarkable. I think not many have the courage to do that, and especially when something like a crisis like this happens and throws you off and you don't know what to do with yourself. But then you got this idea and you actually, you made it so, such a long way. It's
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. And I always say there is a silver lining to the pandemic, not just for me, but for so many people with disabilities because, you know, everyone had to use technology to interact with each other. And so this is something that so many people with disabilities have been asking for as an accommodation from employers specifically. Can I work remotely? I can do the job, but it's easier if I work remotely because, I rely on other people getting me up in the morning. If they're late, I'm not going to make it in on time. But if I just have to hop out of bed and get on my computer, I can get the work done, right? Things like that. And suddenly, you know, first of all, it was always a no, right? Oh, no, you can't do that. And then all of a sudden, everyone's doing it. Everyone's able to do it. Um, and so it just showed that kind of the biases against people with disabilities, where now you can say, hey, we all did it. There's no excuse anymore. And it really leveled the playing field for people with disabilities. I know a lot of people who were posting that they were attending holiday celebrations with family members and friends that they normally would not have been able to because of the physical barriers, such as stairs or what have you. But now that everything was virtual and using video chat, they were able to join those celebrations. Um, and so that I feel like was a silver lining to this situation. It also brought to light what many people with disabilities face constantly. and have always faced
Yeah.
isolation and things like that, where now everyone was facing it, right? And we're like, this is not something new. Now you're realizing what a lot of people with disabilities are going through, or have gone through. So it was. I like to say that is the silver lining. Of course, there were a lot of not so nice things about this, but
Yeah.
I, I think that was the silver lining of all this happening.
Yeah, I think you were right. And I mean, there's a silver lining in everything. And I think also people got more closer to each other, even if they were further away from each other. So
Hmm.
I mean, hoping for that. So I know you mentioned now going a little back to where you talked a bit about what you do and what you do with Quark Labs and the assistive technology. So basically, well, we didn't have the chance to talk about this much, but so I started working in this field of cerebral palsy only recently, doing social media and marketing. And what we are, because you brought this subject up, now I'm trying to basically get to my next question. So what we're doing at Stasism is creating a product, the first of its kind, digital platform for people with cerebral palsy, and it uses AI, it uses cutting edge technology to basically um, it's to basically help people, kids, young adults, and people in general with cerebral palsy to do their daily physical exercise, to do their therapy, but in a more fun and thrilling and exciting way through video games, through all these sorts of things that will help them, together with their family or with their friends or even with their therapist, can bring that sort of motivation and joy back into their lives, because we all know how tedious it can get. So that's what we're sort of trying to do and achieve
That's
here,
awesome.
what we're doing here, but also trying to create a community, because I think we need that. And so basically, the saying this, I wanted to kind of ask you, well, first of all, before starting your own thing, did you have a experience with tech? And I guess my second question would be, what do you think, we're lacking in this area? Because you also have cerebral palsy, and maybe tell us more a bit about that.
Okay, can you give me 1 second?
Let's see. Okay, done. Now it started recording. Okay, so we can, yeah, pick up from where we left off. And actually, like the question that I wanted to ask was, uh, well, it's not really a question, but if you can tell us more about your condition and how you found out and how did you go about it in your journey, and how everything else happened
Can you
afterwards.
hold on 1 second? Someone just walked in. I'm sorry. So, I stopped breathing during birth, and the lack of oxygen caused brain damage, which is how I got CP. Um, I was officially diagnosed at about 11 to 12 months old when my mom noticed, or my parents noticed, that I wasn't really doing the typical things that, as you approach 9 to 12 months, you're crawling, you're rolling over. So, all along the way leading up to those months, I wasn't doing those things. And so, uh, that's when they realized that I had CP. But luckily, they were connected with an organization who they provide services for people with disabilities. It's called Easter Seal. And where I grew up, we actually had a center. So a lot of Easter Seals locations don't have a physical center. They have offices, and then most of their therapists just go out to the schools and things like that. So this place had a center, and everything was under one roof. I'm sorry, I have a tickle in my throat.
No worries. I mean, you can take some time if you want, or a break, or
It's okay. Um, and so everything was under one roof. So speech therapy, physical therapy, occupational therapy. They had a preschool, summer camp. Everything was under this one roof. And so I literally grew up going there for the first basically 17 years of my life. Up until I graduated high school, that was my second home. I had physical therapy, occupational therapy. I went to preschool there. I went to summer camps there. They were like a family, and I had really great therapists that they saw the potential, or and that was their job, right? Their job wasn't to focus on what I couldn't do, but focus on what I could do, and then really take advantage of that and strengthen those skills and figure out solutions. And so it was them that introduced me to technology when I was only about 7 or 8 years old. And from there on, I was just hooked and addicted and wanted to try and, you know, see what the next best thing was and how I could make things better. And another great thing about that is it was always a collaborative effort. So I had a lot of input in the things that I needed or wanted to be able to do. And we would come up with solutions together. And so I think that's why it was so successful and why why I enjoyed going there, because it wasn't people just being like, okay, you have to do this, right?
yeah, you have to
It
do
was
this and that, and
right,
that's it.
and that's it, right? It was more about what do you need or what do you want to do. And as I got older, obviously, I had more input, right? And there was more conversation on my future. Whereas when I was a child, it was more about play, right? Play and learning, but mostly play. And then as I got older, it was more focused on, so what do you need to move on from here,
Yeah,
right? To go to college, and things like that. And so I think it was really great, and we were really fortunate to be connected to an organization that really focuses, and the people that work there, they work there because they want to make a change and they want to help people. They're not there because it's a job, and you can tell, right?
yeah,
You can tell when you're with someone and they're only doing it for a paycheck, right? They don't really care what they're doing. They don't care about the person they're working with. And these therapists, and now at the age of, I'm 43, 43 and a half, um, I'm still in contact with them. They're great
that's
friends.
amazing. Wow,
And so it's just that long lasting relationship.
relationship. Yeah.
So that's what I think really helped my family and myself understand that there were no limits to what I could do.
And that's, I think, the right approach to this, and what I think probably more centers and more treatment facilities should do. I'm just curious now, where was this situated in? Because you didn't tell us.
Yeah, so it was back in back home. I lived in Connecticut.
Connecticut.
Yeah. So we're not too far from New York City. So all of my doctors were at NYU in New York. So we were about 45 minutes north of the city.
Right, and now you live in Boston, right?
Yeah, and now I live in Boston. So yes.
Okay. That's amazing. And yeah, I think having all of it under the same roof, I think definitely helps and even facilitates. You don't have to go from one city to another, or just
exactly. And then, you know, when I was younger, also once I started public school, in elementary school, they come to your school to give you therapy. But then as I got older, obviously, I couldn't leave class to have physical therapy or occupational therapy. So then I would go after school to the center.
Yeah.
And have, you know, my physical therapy and occupational therapy. When I was younger, I got to go to this program where I would go horseback riding. It was a therapeutic. It was a place where they had, I guess, retired horses.
Yeah.
And they were used as therapy, and I loved horseback riding. It was so great.
I love horses too. I think they are, I don't know, they can bring you so much calm and so much, they have just this aura, beautiful aura that I personally feel no other animal has.
Yeah, they're amazing creatures. But I miss horseback riding.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get back to it soon. I guess now it's closed.
I haven't done it in so long. I mean, I was a teenager the last time I did horseback riding. So there are some places up here in Massachusetts, and maybe once COVID is done, I might check it out and try to get into it again.
Yeah.
It was really great. The rhythmic movement is good for people with CP, especially if you're spastic. It relaxes your muscles, and so my body would just totally relax after being down the horse for about, after the first 15 minutes, then my body would relax, and it was so great.
Wow. I hope you get back to it soon, and this.
I hope so too.
Yeah, it gets back on track.
Yeah.
So I don't want to keep you too much because you have so many things going on. So you mentioned a bit. It's super interesting because you mentioned how you kind of, when you were more a kid, you learned more through play. Everything was kind of focused more on play, and then you mentioned as well the horses as a therapeutical, let's say tool. Yeah. And because what we're doing is trying to actually use this, have therapy through play, but in a much more innovative, fun, and motivating way for kids and young adults and even adults as well. And we have, the help of AI, the help of balance boards, and so on. But I was just thinking, because you have CP, and you also have, some background in technology. What do you feel is sort of missing right now for people with CP in the area either of technology, either of, I don't know, tools or something that they would really need? Because I'm just thinking about the future of technology as well, and how technology and the advancements can help people with cerebral palsy.
Yeah, I mean, it's not even just about CP, right? Because first of all, CP is such a wide range.
Yeah.
You could have it in one limb, in one half of your body. You can, be ambulatory. You can.
Yeah.
So there's so many. It's such a wide range.
Yeah, no two people are the same.
Yeah, exactly. And so I think it's in general for people with disabilities. I mean, there's so many things that people need. You know, just I mean, technology has advanced so much recently, and is advancing so rapidly. So I wouldn't be too surprised that in a few years, maybe 5 to 10 years, I'll be able to drive a car, right?
Yeah.
And I envision that I could use the device that I'm creating to drive that car. So I don't know, but with regards to what you guys are working on, I think it's great that you're making the therapy kind of gamifying it. Because as a child, I hated physical therapy. More so, I hated it when I was at home and my mom would want to keep,
Doing the exercises or.
Right, and I would scream. I was a horrible child. And so I think it's great to have that, if there was a system where it was like, oh, you're going to get all these points, right?
Yeah.
Or you're going to reach the next level of this game if you do X, Y, Z, right? So I think that definitely would be a motivation. If I were a child, I would totally do it. And maybe even now, make it an adult version of it, a game. I'm a gamer, so, I would totally be interested.
Yeah, sometimes it's just fun. Even as an adult, you're like, oh, maybe I'll try this.
Yeah, exactly. And then you just want to be your best friend, right? Like, if I do a little more, I can beat my yesterday score, or
or you can your other friend, or you can
right, exactly. So I really like the idea of gamifying exercise because I think that just motivates people. Very competitive. I think people in general are very competitive.
They're more inclined to reach towards something.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I guess what you're doing as well, I think it's absolutely fantastic, and we might talk about it more in our next chat when you have some more news, some more upgrades. I think that's just fantastic. That's phenomenal. Once again, I cannot say it's enough. And we'd love to write about it as well on our blog and just share this and spread this around. And with regards to what you just said, I think, we just thought, kids love to play, and kids, hate exercises. It's obvious. We hated doing homeworks. We hated doing. It's like, as a kid, you just want to have fun. You want to live life to just, not do these sort of to-do lists.
Right.
And we hope we will achieve something that enhances somehow their daily routines, so to say. And as you mentioned as well, AI and other technological advancements are definitely helping us at the moment in order to create a more personalized experience. Because right now, as you probably know already, people are more inclined to get onto something if it's more catered to themselves rather than to the general public.
Right, if it's more personalized. Everyone likes personalized things that are personalized to them. And having the ability to personalize, right? So having options and not just getting this cookie cutter thing that everybody gets.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Adriana.
Thank you.
For taking this time with us in these 3 takes for the interview.
Great. Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.